This is the Amplify Your Business podcast with Matt J Hanham, where I have candid conversations with inspiring people and turn topics inside out to help you get amplified in business and in life. Welcome to the show, everyone. Today's episode is a topic that we're going to turn inside out, and it's a topic, it's about relationships, but not just relationships. We're talking about relationships with clients, and that's a weird one, right? Sometimes, I mean, depending on the size of your business, sometimes you don't want to spend too much time with clients. Other times you want to spend a lot of time with clients. I mean, one thing that's really challenging, I think, with these clients is time. Like, how much time do you spend with them? Like, at what point are you spending all your time with the client, which means you can't build your business anyway because you're too busy spending all your time in delivery. But you need these client relationships, right? You need them out there. They are important. I mean, if you're running a service-based business or a small freelance operation, you need to communicate with clients. But then what do you do? Do you get to the end of the year and you send them a bottle of wine and that's it? Or like, how do you tackle this client thing? But I guess the question to ask is like, are you getting the most out of your relationships with clients? Like, could it be stronger? And I'll put my hand up and say, absolutely. Like, I could definitely be stronger in my relationship with clients. I mean, I do have some good relationships, but there's been times in business where I really haven't had any relationship at all. And account managers and other people have sort of controlled the full relationship. And I don't do that anymore. I'm at a place where all the clients we have know who I am, but they just need and do know that they don't, it's not usually the quickest path to getting things achieved to try and move through me in the process. But like, one thing I don't have well laid out, which also ties into sales and the sales component of the business, is having a really strong process to build out really strong relationships. And truth be told, a lot of this stuff can be really easy. Like, it can be super easy to do. Like, sometimes it's just a little card or a reach out or, controlling information. I mean, one thing that's super important, and we'll just rewind before we get into any of this. And I've had this running for quite a big, chunk of the business, but not really run it well. And there's been times when we haven't run one at all. But if you're not running a CRM of any sort, a customer relationship manager, and if you're not trying to track any information or emails or details or deals or whatever on your clients, you are always going to be chasing your tail, just round in circles. You need to start to track this information. And I'm at this place where we're sort of tracking this information, but there's so much more we could do. We could be sending out little gifts every few months, or we could just be doing little things. And I'm not saying that's what creates a great relationship with clients, but they're the kind of things that can help. You do have to build a process around your meetings, around your communications, around, all aspects. And the one thing that I think we fail to remember sometimes is our clients are so busy too. Their clients are always super busy, and, your easy client super busy, your tough client super busy. Sometimes the more difficult client to work with is actually not a bad, they're a pretty good client. They're just really a bit hard to work with because they're so busy. They struggle to come back to you with adjustments, or you can't get them on the phone. But sometimes this is just client life. I mean, if you're running a service business, if you're a freelancer, if you're a designer, a plumber, anything, you have to deal with people. B2B, B2C, it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, you're on the phone, or you're on the email, or you're on a messenger chat with somebody, right? And that somebody is, sometimes it could be a robots, and we're moving into the future where it's AI is possible, but largely it's a person or a pretending consciousness of, attempting to be a person, a la Google. But digress. There's a person there, and you have to build these relationships. So, there's a few things that we can look at here, but like the first thing is that you have to make communication easy and comfortable. And the challenge with that, in my view, is that you're not always going to get this back from your clients. People, so often I see people like get stuck with their ego, and they're like, oh, that client said something, it wasn't very nice, and they want to fight them back. Like, what purpose is that? Like maybe they've had a bad day. Could they have written the email better? Yeah, sure. Now, I'm not saying be soft. I'm just saying to what avail is it if you're going to fight them back? Like what are you going to achieve by doing that? And I see this happen in negotiation. I see this happen in client relationships. I see this happen all the time. Do not fight them back. Like social media is another great one. You see this like reviews for businesses and someone gets stuck into like, well, you didn't, he said, she said. You are not going to win. And that's the only reason. Like I'm not saying back down. You're just not going to win. You'll either lose them as a client, a customer, the relationship. They'll tell someone else. This is just not an outcome that you want. So communication needs to be easy and comfortable. Now give it to them in their format. Now you might have a standard process and these processes work well, but if you've got a client that just honestly needs a phone call, we'll pump the email out and just get on the phone and do the call. Just give them a quick couple of minute update, get the answer you need there, follow through with email, do other things. But if they're that way inclined, make it easy for them. Now, don't hold on to all your, keep your systems running, but just allow for a little bit of flexibility. One of the other really often underdone things is just reassuring clients and just making sure that they know that you've got their back. Because I think sometimes, especially we have a lot of clients that have relationships that span years, and there's going to be ups and downs in the relationship. And, when it's a financial relationship, there's going to be these ups and downs. There's going to be ups and downs in, say, for example, as a client, their circumstances. And then I guess also for ourselves, and for yourself, like your circumstances will change. Like if you've just had some bad news and you're having a tough week, like you might not communicate the same way as if it's been a great week and everything's normal, and expect the same back, especially from a long-term client. Now, again, sometimes you might cop a bit of flack and sometimes they might be super happy and sometimes you might not be able to tell, but it doesn't really matter. Your job, you're getting paid. You need to reassure your clients, deliver what you're supposed to deliver, and take the lead on that relationship. Like I believe that it is your job to be in charge of that relationship. Like if you're the client, you're the one that's getting paid. Sorry, if they're your client, you're getting paid. It's your number one job to keep an eye on that relationship and make sure things are good. You can't just sit there and blame them and say, well, they haven't said anything to us for 3 months. Well, so what? That's your fault. If they haven't communicated with you in 3 months, the only possible reasonable explanation for that is that you have messaged them, called them, faxed them, dropped into their warehouse, whatever it is, over and over again that whole time. Now, does that suck? Absolutely, it might suck, but they're your client. This is the game you chose to be in. You're not selling widgets. And even if you are selling widgets, you've still got customers, so this is the game. And if you want people to pay you money, and especially pay you money on a regular basis, then this is what you need to do. You also need to listen. And when I say listen, I've already talked about this a couple of times. Like, people can't necessarily communicate exactly what they want to communicate to you. They may not be able to communicate it to you because they don't even understand it themselves, or they may not be able to communicate it to you because they feel guilty about communicating it to you, or they are worried someone else might get impacted by the way they communicate. I mean, there's all sorts of reasons why someone might not be able to clearly articulate what they want, and how they might come at you with a little bit more aggression or heat or frustration, or they might have some other deadline, something else is going on. These things happen, but you have to be a good listener. Listen to what they're saying, but also listen to what they're really saying. If you're not paying attention, you could miss the most important thing in that conversation. You might miss the opportunity to save the relationship, but you might also miss the opportunity to improve the relationship. You might miss the opportunity to help them in their endeavors, which is also, as a client-based business, going to help you in your endeavors. So you have to be a good listener. And that also means being a person and not just an email address or a phone number or a fax line if you're still living in that world. But beep, beep. Honestly, I understand why some people might still have a fax machine just in case, but like if you're not actively trying to get rid of that, it's time to move on. We're already probably getting past the next level. But again, for another conversation, you need to not just be an email address or a number. You need to not hide behind everything. You need to just get out there and be you and let them be you. And another part of this is actually being yourself too. You don't have to just deliver this complete professional front. Be yourself, and the right clients will appreciate that and stick with that. You have to take responsibility for mistakes. And yes, often this actually, and I might get some flack, people might see this differently, but if it was their mistake to a certain extent, it's still your mistake, because you should have taken the responsibility to figure out what they were saying, what they needed. Not all mistakes will be your mistake, but you have as I said before, the total responsibility for this relationship, and then you need to be able to control mistakes. Now, look, I know it's 2-sided, 3-sided, 7-sided relationship, but you are the one that's collecting the financial reward. It's on you to try and mitigate and take responsibility and help fix as many mistakes as you possibly can. Ask for feedback. Now, sometimes we're scared of this, and I admittedly, like sometimes I'm scared to ask for feedback. Ironically, sometimes it's even great I'm scared to ask for feedback, because you're almost inviting them to try and find something they're not happy with. But that's just a negative way of looking at it. But I have done this. But I think sometimes it's better to just get this feedback. Now, I don't mean just get these surveys out there. Like I think one of the greatest ways to get feedback is just conversation. And ask the question how they're feeling about this or that or what's going on. It can be a really useful place. Sometimes, look, a blanket email might suit, but it's really good to get feedback when you're live in a situation and not after the fact. So when we run an event with hundreds of people, it's far better to get some response right then and then on the day than it is to wait 2 weeks later and send them a little notice going, hey, it'd be really cool if you could just rate us out of 7. Rate us out of 10. Like, they're not going to be fresh in the situation to give you the quality information that you're really seeking to try and improve things. What you also really need to do is to show some gratitude. Now, even it can be simple as like on the bottom of our invoices, it always just says like, thank you for your business. Thank you for your business. Like, no matter who you are, no matter how many 100 times you've got an invoice from us, we just a little thank you. Now, that isn't necessarily personable. So, gifts and other things that you can do, whatever you can do to show gratitude. I mean, often we help clients by doing a little bit over and above or doing some extra work. I mean, over delivery is key, I think, in service businesses, and is the only way that you can really hold on to long-standing clients. Again, people will disagree with that 100%. But at the end of the day, you've got to. You just have to. You're going to have to do a little bit more. You're going to have to give the client a little bit more than they're paying you. Otherwise, don't expect it to last. It's not going to last. Maybe it's a one-off transaction. You couldn't care less. Fine, if that's how you want to be. But even if it was, if you were to give them a little more, you'd be amazed at what value could come back. The extra value of a referral, the extra value of something else. Like, don't be so narrow-minded. Be grateful for them. And I've been guilty of like having tough clients and not feeling grateful for these clients. And the truth is, there's always an answer. There's always just a human or a few humans involved, and there's always a way to, I guess, move on to my next point, which is to connect with them. Find a way to connect with them. Maybe it's hard to connect over the client conversations or something else. But so maybe you start little side conversations. This is where, if you're not on social media, you're probably not listening to me. But if you're not using social media with your clients as well, that is a big opportunity. Now, I for a long time didn't communicate with our clients via social, but I found it very useful to have, I guess, just little side quick conversations about things that are not as serious and not as specific. And it's a really great way for you to help sort of manifest a better relationship with these clients, where like maybe you have a common interest in, let's say, a sporting club or or you like to play chess or whatever it is, just the odd message back or forth here and there, like on Messenger, on WhatsApp, on, sometimes even text message could be okay. It's a far less formal situation to be in than when you're just firing an email back and forth, delivering, large scale meetings where they're project meetings. You always have this banter, and we waste a lot of time in meetings because of this banter, but it's there because you need to build this rapport. But you can use this, social and whatever tool you have available as this opportunity to connect, to start conversations using social media and to try and break down the walls of maybe a difficult client. There's so many hacks around this. Like, there's so much you could be doing. I mean, there's, in your CRM, you could set up little 60-day notes to just fire off messages. Maybe you just get smarter around firing off messages that don't necessarily need a response. Because again, you're just asking your client to do work. I mean, one of the big things is trying not to, pass responsibility over to your client too much. But Gary Vaynerchuk has a really cool, trick or something that I saw him do once. And he's like, just, put the letter D into your contact list and just call someone. So you just make it a move. Do it daily, do it weekly. Just regularly reach out and just talk to people. I mean, he will call people and just go, hey, I love you, man. And that's all that needs to be said. A good mate of mine is a finance broker, and he gets in the car on his about 30 to 40 minute drive every night, and he just gets in the car, and by the time he gets in his car, he's got a list of like 4 to 5 calls, that follow-up call, this or that, and then there's always 2 or 3 in there of just people that he hasn't spoken with for a while. Just gets on the phone, maybe they answer, maybe they don't. If they don't answer, just leaves a message saying, hey, I just called to say hey. Don't have to call me back, no worries. Call me if you like. Be good to talk to you. Hope you're well. And these are the things that you can do just to continually build and prospect. I mean, again, you're also prospecting. This is not just relationships, but clients want you to be good at your job. They want you to be firm. They want to just be able to trust you with what they're trusting you with. But they want to have a bit of a relationship with you too. They want to be able to say good day. They want to be able to communicate on something. They want to know, but the reason they want so much of that is because they want to feel comfortable that they have made the right choice, that you are the right person or team for them. So do whatever trick you need to, but follow those rules, do those things, like look after, respect your client. And the number one thing really is that show gratitude piece. If you're grateful for them, maybe you'll just do that extra piece of communication. Maybe you'll just do that little bit more for them. And that will give you a happier, better, healthier client. Or at the very least, make you feel better about how you're treating that client. I'd love to hear your thoughts on how you build awesome relationships with clients and what you do. I mean, there's all sorts of cool tricks, but I'm looking at rebuilding my system at the moment. So it'd be really cool to hear about what you do with your CRM, how you create these little hacks, like whatever it is, like what do you do to build awesome relationships with clients? So let me know. Shoot me a DM. Get in touch with me. I hope you enjoyed this episode. I mean, have you got, people out there that are not necessarily, not looking after their clients? Do you know people that aren't grateful for their clients? I mean, God, wouldn't you love their client? Can't believe that they're not being grateful, right? Maybe share this with them. Maybe let them know. Maybe let them know that they should be grateful. They should have gratitude for this client that they've got. Sure, it's a tough client, but the tough client is probably providing you with an opportunity to grow and learn. Have you ever thought about that? It's actually probably giving you an opportunity. That's why it's tough. I mean, one of my most difficult clients was in the medical field. And he would just write back, like we would do something and he would only get on the email and he'd write back in capitals and basically say, you guys suck. And the truth was we didn't, but this was the only point of view that he could ever see. So he would just attack and attack and attack. And then it's like, you know what? Okay. We made some systems changes. I mean, this client only lasted 60 days. It was horrific. The creative staff involved, the people just could not understand or fathom, especially because we'd actually significantly improved all of his results, but he just could not, for the life of him, see that. He just could not do anything other than just get angry at us, and he was really aggressive. Off the back of that, we made some changes. We did a lot of things differently, and that was it was a really positive outcome for us. But if I didn't have my eyes open to it, if I didn't wasn't able to look for some gratitude, how to be grateful for the situation, that would never have happened. So let me know, what do you do to build awesome relationships with clients? And I'm going to use it. Let me know what works, and I'm going to use it in my business. I look forward to catching you next week, guys. Please like and share and pass this around. Give me a review, thumbs up, say good day, send me a DM, whatever you like. Speak to you soon. Ciao.